What is up, everyone? Welcome back to the Engineers Without Filters podcast, episode 168. I'm your host, Jacob Thompson, and tonight I am drinking the good old Gatorade because I am recovering / still am sick, and I need those electrolytes, baby.
Let's go.
You gotta get the Glacier Freeze, aka light blue flavor. That's my favorite.
Blue.
Nice.
That's just wrong. That's the wrong flavor.
Are you a red guy?
Red and orange.
Nah.
Yeah.
I'm on blue all the way.
As long as you don't say yellow.
Yeah,
Yellow,
I don't-
feel
Lemon
like
lime is trash.
I don't trust people that like yellow.
for some reason it's like the default. I feel like for a lot of people, but it doesn't taste like much.
I mean, it's the
Besides-
original, right? Isn't that the thing?
Maybe.
I'm pretty sure that was the original flavor. So that's
It
probably why
just
some
feels
people
extra
swear by it.
salty. Like I feel like I can
Mm.
taste the salt.
Well, you need the salt. You've been sweating.
Hey, and I'm Joseph, and I finally am drinking Oberon.
Hey.
Nice.
I got it like a couple days after we recorded last time, and I was like, God damn it, I gotta make sure it lasts. And I had to go to like a couple different places to find it.
Mm,
Not fun.
mm.
Yeah, that's
I
what
got it.
happens when you're outside of
Congratulations.
Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
You like trying to guilt him into moving?
Yep, hasn't really stopped.
All right. Well, I'm Gabe, and I did look for Oberon as well, but didn't have it at the place that I walked to.
Mm.
So I wasn't that determined to go to other places. I'll just wait. So Northeast again this week. Classic Minneapolis brew. That's what happens when you don't live in Minneapolis, Dayton. You can't have this brew. So
Damn.
you're missing on so much.
Shucks.
Sucks to suck, dude.
Shucks. And I'm drinking something that I have never drank on the podcast before.
Oh.
And that is a Crowler
Oh.
from Fetch. And
Okay.
the beer that I'm drinking is called Pleasure Pit. And it's an apricot wheat.
Okay.
It's good.
Is Fetch the brewery in your town?
They're 2 blocks away.
Nice.
Oh yeah. Think you're gonna finish that by the end of the podcast?
Dude, I don't know. If I do, we're gonna. This might be turning into a We Got Drunk episode instead of
Or was the
Dayton got drunk.
I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah.
We'll see if I finish it or
Well, welcome back to the show, everyone. This is the podcast where every other week the four of us gather around and talk about whatever we want to talk about. I feel like our show we post every other Monday. We're on podcast services and YouTube. Don't forget to follow us on social media and our Twitch channel where we record these live on Thursday nights. And then on our off weeks, we're playing some games. So go ahead and follow our Twitch channel. That's ewf_podcast on there. But yeah, let's get into a little weekly recap, see how the boys are doing. And you know what? I'm going to be greedy. I'm going first. Okay. Because, last week or 2 weeks ago, I announced I have left grad school. It's over. It's done. I was looking for a job. Literally the next day, I got a job. So that was good. So last week was really good. Started my new job. Basically, I'm working for a company that processes standardized tests from like around the country. So they come in. I have to like quality control check. Like people have to bubble in their info, And sometimes I bubble things wrong. So I got to fix that so it doesn't mess up the data. Just do a bunch of other things with that process. I don't want to get too detailed because I know there's some confidentiality stuff. But yeah, I do that and it's totally fine. I think it's like the appropriate amount of brain power where like I'm not bored out of my skull, but I'm not like spending too much so I can still work on my own stuff in the afternoon. So I'm doing that in the mornings, and in the afternoons I come back and I work on editing videos from stuff I recorded or learning video editing skills, stuff like that. I came back and did my first stream a couple Tuesdays ago, which was fun. That went really well, and then streamed again that Saturday. And my plan was to continue streaming on Tuesday nights and Saturdays, but fate would not have that be the case because what happened was, and here's, you guys know I love Aldi, all right? And I would never I'm still gonna go no matter what. Okay, Dayton's wearing the Aldi shirt right now, but I think there's something afoot here, and I got fucked up. All right, a little bit of backstory. I don't eat breakfast. All right, I have a hard time eating food in the morning, um, but I still like need something, or else my brain's gonna shut down. Right, so I noticed that Aldi has these meal replacement shakes that are kind of like you could be like breakfast shakes, right? I'm like, oh, that's good. Just I could drink this thing in the morning. It's easy to consume, and it has like energy and nutrients and stuff, and it'll like get me to like the lunch or whatever, right? So I've been doing this for a while, and they're good. My only critique with them is that they have a lot of fiber, and and a lot of insoluble fiber. So I'll wake up, take a shit, get ready for the day, and then I pop one of those on the way out. And I feel like I'm about to, groundhog the rest of the next few hours because it's like they make you want to go, all right? And it's fine, you deal with it. Sometimes I have to do a second, a second round later in the day. This last weekend, and I'm not necessarily that was what messed me up completely, but I also usually on Sundays when I go to Aldi, and I usually pick up one of their take and bake pizzas. If you guys see like that section when you walk in with their pretty made stuff. And so I got one of the take and bake pizzas, which have been fine normally. Lot of meat on them. I really wish they had a supreme or a veggie, but they just don't. So I get like the one with a lot of meat. I eat that on Sunday night, and it's fine. But a lot of meat. Wake up on Monday morning. I'm like, all right, let's tackle the day. Wake up, shit number 1. I pop a breakfast shake. Go to work. Shit number 2 at work. Come home. Shit number 3. Shit number 4. Like I'm just getting destroyed. Okay, I don't know if it was food poisoning from the pizza or if this was the day that the shakes were like, no, we're gonna take you out today. I shit 4 times. Okay, my body was in such a compromised state that around like 5 p.m. I start feeling really sick. I'm getting the chills. I'm getting like the chills plus the fever kind of bullshit, the achiness all over. So on Monday night I have chills, and then I'm too hot, and then I broke the fever. So but that was good. Tuesday I didn't go to work. So I still felt like garbage. Wednesday Tuesday was pretty okay. Like it was whatever. Wednesday, I went into work late. I worked just only 3 hours, but when I came home, my stomach was just fucked. Like I just felt like bloated and like pain in my large intestine just like the rest of the day. And then today I called in and I sick again because my stomach just has been fucked just like all through yesterday and today. Whenever I consume something, it just goes right through me. It's like I got the fast pass from Disney. All right, it's just we're not slowing down, and it's horrible. It's like it's the fucking worst, and I hate being sick so much because it just ruins your entire routine and your schedule. Like, and if I don't like right now, like if I don't work, I don't get paid. Like I don't get like paid time off. That's a part-time job, right? It's like I'm losing money. I'm not working on building my own skills or doing my own stuff. I canceled my stream on Tuesday. Like I'm just like it just ruins everything, right? And I also like am prone to get depressed in these kind of situations. So like the dishes are piling up. I re-download TikTok. I'm on that for like 5 hours during the day. Like, what else the fuck am I supposed to do, right? You're supposed to lay on the couch and rest up. So it's just been not great. It's been not good. So last week, great. This week, it's horrible. Like it's not been a good time. So I'm hoping I specifically once this I called my friend Lissa this morning because I was like I'm depressed. I need I need guidance, and she's like go to get some food that's like a lot easier on you. And so I got some different food today, and I'm trying to feel a little bit better. I took some Gas X, which helped a little bit. Hope by tomorrow I'm okay. But man, I fucking hate being sick. And Gabe, like you said on the podcast, I think last week, maybe two podcasts ago, when you're sick and you're home alone, it hits different. And it's just like, there's just no one to complain to. Like, that would make it a little bit better if I could just bitch and whine to somebody. But that's what this podcast is for. So I'm bitching and whining now.
Or you're like on the couch, you're like, if only someone could get me more water. And
I know.
Oh, I gotta do this.
It fucking sucks. So yeah, I'm hoping by tomorrow I feel better. But holy shit, man! You guys know I've done podcasts multiple times. There have been times when I just get run through by something and my bowels get messed up. It usually doesn't last for like 4 days. So I'm hoping it'll end soon. But my God,
that is weird that it's lasting so long.
Yeah, I think my intestines got really irritated, and it's just not having anything. So I've been trying to do like applesauce and rice and like easy stuff, but yeah. So anyway, that might have been TMI for some people, but hey, we gotta talk about this stuff, or else no one's ever gonna talk about it.
Everyone's got a
If they made it
butthole.
this far, they're true fans, you know.
Exactly.
They made
Exactly.
it this far to the episode.
It's the great filter.
Yeah. Gabe, how you doing? Was your week less shitty than mine? Pun intended.
Yeah, mine was there was no bowel issues. Nothing super crazy. I went my first bike ride outside, which was pretty nice. I got to try out the new bike, which I've told the story on the podcast where they messed up and basically got me a nicer bike for free. So I got to try that out on real land and not on the trainer, and that was super nice to feel the wind and get pissed at people who are like going in both lanes and all that stuff. Still super wet. It's still too early, and I definitely need to change like the seat height and stuff, but it just felt good. So hopefully we can do more of that. And then next week I'm heading out to Colorado, so gonna do some spring skiing. So that should be very fun. I'm excited to do that. So, yeah, pretty much.
Where
just,
in Colorado?
So we're gonna go to Breckenridge for a couple days. It's we got a place like right at the base of it, and then the third day we still haven't figured out where we're going because there's so many choices. But anything from Vail to Copper or anything like that's been thrown out, so we'll see. But I'm really excited for it. It'll be nice to get a little bit of a break and finish off skiing at like the top, instead of like I feel like I've been building up. Like I've been doing like the dinky places like an hour outside the city, and then I went to Duluth and then North Shore, and it's a little bit taller, and we'll end at Colorado. But I have more of an update next episode. Hopefully I'm all in one piece still. So
He'll be fine. You'll be fine.
Yeah, I'll be fine. Yeah.
Joseph, how you doing?
Pretty good. I forgot to mention last week, but Alyssa and I, or last episode, but Alyssa and I finally finished Game of Thrones.
Oh.
Got that behind us finally.
You happy it's over? You seem relieved.
Yeah. I mean, when you know what's coming, it's like, the closer you get to the end, the more you remember and realize. But finally I can bitch about it and show her memes, then she'll understand them now. So that's honestly worth it.
What was her final review of the show?
I'm trying to remember how she worded it. Yeah, same thing. Like it starts off really strong, really enjoyed it, and then it just kind of tapers off. We watched. There's a YouTuber that I used to watch when the show was running, and he would do like in-depth like recaps of each episode. So we would watch those after we'd finish an episode.
Nice.
And the later, we started watching them like season 7, I think. The further it gets on and like the more the quality goes down, the more snarky he gets about like how the show is going to shit. And so it's kind of funny, like him making like offhand comments about like, I don't know, like, oh, let's see where this goes. And it's like, I know where that goes. You're right, and you're going to hate it. It's just funny. So, like, that I don't know how much that influenced her and me being like, I hate this part, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Which I tried not to, like, put a bad taste in her mouth about it, but
yeah.
But it's hard not to when, even just watching the show, like, you pick up on it.
Yeah, I know how that goes.
But yeah, so now it's like, well, shit, what do we do now? I don't want to watch something that's like as big and like as intensive Game of Thrones. So we watched the pilot of Lost, which she said she's seen a couple seasons of it. So I might watch it by myself at this point. She didn't seem super interested in watching. So I might be watching Lost coming up, which is something I've been wanting to watch for a while, just never really got around to it.
Yeah.
So made a bit more progress on my pack raft. finally getting like the tubes, which is
Mhm.
frightening
Mhm.
because I really fucked up one part. And
Oh,
it
no.
doesn't like line up real well. I was like, fuck. This could be bad.
Don't worry, you're just gonna look at it every single time you inflate the Packraft.
I'm kind of pissed, but now I know, and so I won't. I did the next section, and I cleaned it up a little bit better. So
Mhm.
I'm learning, which
Mhm.
is the important part.
Yes.
And then like Gabe, I also made it out on my bike this past week. And yeah, I had to go over some ice on the bike path, which was fun.
I feel like
Uphill
it's still
ice.
not ready. I want it to be, but it's not.
You know what? I don't care
A lot
though.
of
I'm
shade.
still gonna. It's supposed to be like almost 50 next Monday, I think.
Yeah, but it's supposed to rain like half rain, half snow, 5 inches on Saturday. So
Yeah,
we'll
yeah,
see.
like tomorrow and Saturday we're supposed to
Yeah.
get like 5 inches of snow and freezing rain. We'll see. Who knows?
That's fun.
Winter's not over, despite what we want it to be.
Mm-hmm.
It was also the first time I rode with clipless pedals, which was frightening. I did not fall yet, knock on wood. Yeah, it was quite the experience. I spent about like 45 minutes practicing clipping in and out, and even like getting myself to almost fall so I would panic and like make sure I could panic clip out instead of just like, I know what I do when I panic, and I would not have thought to click my heels out. So,
Right.
but I practiced and it was fine. I didn't die. I didn't fall. So I still got plenty of time to fall though.
I have a noob question.
Yes.
So pedals that have clips are called clipless.
Mhm.
Yes. So
Why?
because
It's history of it.
so there's flat pedals, which are just like a
Yep.
platform with spikes.
Yep.
Or sometimes they have spikes or pegs or whatever. In the 90s, they had toe clips. So the like straps that go over your shoe.
So
you
not
just,
the cages.
The cage.
Yeah,
It's
the
that. Yeah.
cage.
Oh, but okay. Keep going.
Rat traps, toe straps, cages, those are called toe clips. So then Shimano released the clipless pedal because it's not a toe clip,
Right.
but you clip into it.
Mhm.
It's
damn it.
stupid. I know. It's what it's called.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it.
Because the toe clips, you don't like. You just like slide into them, but you can't
Yes.
like eject to the side. Yeah, those ones
Yeah.
are scary as fuck.
Yeah,
Because you can't get out of those.
You have
quickly.
to move your feet back to get out, which
Yeah.
is even less of what you would like think to do in a crash situation than pick your heels out.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's why no one rides them anymore.
Yeah, that's so stupid. Dayton, you got some toe clips over there?
No, but it's just interesting hearing you guys talk about how like you're like just now biking, and I've been like biking like on and off like the entire winter.
Fuck you.
Like I was talking to one of my friends who's still in Connecticut, and he just picked up an entry level mountain bike, and like we've been like talking back and forth about it and everything. And I sent him this picture that I took on my film, and it was myself and a friend of mine out at the lighthouse. We had biked there, and there was like ice on the pier, and the roads were they were fine. But so mid January, just yeah. But I did try to go out this Tuesday, and I got my first flat on a road bike.
Those are fun.
It was from a nail, and I didn't have anything with me.
You did the walk of shame?
Yeah, we just walked back. It was only like mile and a half or so.
Yeah, I saw the Strava post.
Yeah. yeah, it wasn't good. But yeah, I mean, aside from that, just feel like I'm getting back into my typical exercise routine of just running a lot. So I'm amping that back up right now.
Oh yeah, good for you. Speaking of running, I got some new running shoes finally. It was the last time I got new running shoes when I lived with Joseph in Minneapolis. It's like 2020.
Oh my god.
But I can't use them because I thought I had shin splints, and now I'm pretty sure I have a stress fracture.
Nice.
So I need to go to the doctor for that probably. So that's fun. That's another thing that was causing me to spiral the other night. But it's fine. It's fine. Well, let's get into our topic for this week. Joseph, it's your topic, and you have the burden of introducing it and trying to explain it succinctly.
Okay.
I love how you've given up. You're just like fucking just do it.
All right.
All right. Bear with me here. So the other day, I got some Snapchat memory from our fourth year in school. Don't remember what it was, but it was 4 years ago. I was like, damn, we really, like, 2019 was 4 years ago. Like, it's crazy, blah, blah, blah. And then I was thinking, like, I don't know, thinking about, like, how much I've changed since fourth year and, like, whatever. I'm like, oh, I wonder, like, how I thought about how much I had changed in that moment from 4 years before when I was a senior in high school. And I was like, oh, it's like a 4 year. Those are two, like, I don't know, distinct moments in your life where you're like very big changes in similar but very different ways, right? And I was just curious on which one you guys think you have changed more or was more impactful. Like, which 4 years you think? The 4 years of college or 4 years of post-grad, which I guess is basically what it boils down to.
Right. Okay, yeah. So we're not doing the high school as well.
Just like from like senior year of high school to I say senior year of college, but 2019, our fourth year. And then from that general time period till roughly this year.
Gotcha. Okay.
Especially now that it's the end of March, so it's like the spring, so it's kind of even more aligned.
We're pretty much there.
Graduation time.
Yeah.
I graduated in the fall.
Yeah, but it's still 2019. It still works.
4.5 year.
Who wants to start us off? Gabe, you want to
go? Sure. So Joseph gave us this topic a week ago. I think at the end of last week we were kind of doing game stream, and I let it knock around the old noggin here and there. And I feel like it's hard for me to say which one is the most impactful, because to me they both were, but just in very different ways. I feel like from high school to college, I spent a lot of time, meeting a lot of new people, and I feel like I got a real sense of community for like the first time in my life, where I felt like I found my people type of a deal. Because you're just like, we said this so many times in the podcast, you're just around so many like-minded people. I feel like I connected with people a lot easier, and I feel like I really kind of hit a lot of strides, found a lot of things that I liked, and got to experience a lot of really cool things. But at the same time, like, since being done with college, my worldview and like my outlook on like what my life is and what I want to do with it is like completely different. And I think a lot of that is I didn't have to stay in the, like, when you go to college, it's like you have to go there, like Michigan Tech's in Houghton, so I'm going to Houghton so I can get the degree, Now I have a lot more agency and like resources to pick where I want to live, what I want to do, and how I want to spend my time, I guess. Obviously there's constrictions, like I still need to pay bills and a lot more adult things now that, I'm outside of college, but I think like my worldview has gotten a lot larger, and like the goals and outlooks and like things that I want to do have changed a lot, so I think, and I guess what I'm trying to say, like, long story short, like between high school and college, I feel like I learned a lot, like in a almost like socially, but also like a lot of things felt more novel. Where now I feel like I'm in a stage in my life where I'm like figuring out where I want to go with it, I guess. Like I feel like I have the agency and I have the understanding of like where I want to go. If that makes sense.
Mm. Yeah, I'll piggyback off of that 'cause I feel like I have some similar thoughts. But yeah, when I compare the 4 years of college to the 4 years post, they're very similar in that the first 2 years of each were very different than the second 2 years of each. So sorry not to like segment it even further, but like the first 2 years of college, I feel were not like extremely similar to high school, but I was still the same person, just like in a different place, and just kind of doing kind of my same stuff, and like yeah, meeting new friends and maybe trying a couple new things, but like I was still very much like the same general person I was from high school, and I was still like talking to my high school friends a lot, and like same kind of humor, and just I was still kind of that same guy. For me, the big turning point was studying abroad. I went in a completely different environment and wholly new set of people from all over the America and also just all over the world, and New Zealand, and being forced to get out of my comfort zone and being forced to like just try a lot of more new things and get more comfortable with um, putting myself out there and get outside my own comfort zone. So I think that was really big, and I feel like that was the beginning of me starting the journey of like learning more about myself. And then coming back is when I moved in with you guys, and that's where, because I mean I knew like you guys kind of, or knew a few of you right before we lived together, but I was the late addition, right? Um, so
Last pick, some would say.
yeah, well, okay, you don't have to, you don't have to go with that.
Just giving you shit, dude.
But yeah, like living in that house was like a totally new experience, right? You had
Yeah.
8 dudes in a house, which came with a bunch of fun and a bunch of like bullshit and a bunch of just other crazy stuff, right? And there again, I'm learning more about myself, becoming more comfortable with who I am and the things I like and the things I don't like, and making decisions about that. So like college was, I would say, like the second half it was more productive than the first half, right? Then post college, kind of a similar thing. The first half was gap year, and then first kind of year of grad school. Gap year, me and Joseph living together, kind of same old, comfortable. It's nice, but not really needed to force a whole lot of growth. And then we have, George Floyd, we have COVID, obviously massive world events, and then me going to grad school, another new environment. And I was going in pretty confident, right? I was like, yeah, I'm going to crush this. Everyone seemed impressed with me at like visiting day, and I already have a couple friends or whatever. So like the first year was me like maybe a bit overconfident and like getting used to my environment and stuff. And then the second 2 years a complete just flip of just like I'm not happy, something needs to change. And that's really where the rubber kind of hit the road of okay, now I'm back in therapy and now I'm really learning about myself and I'm really learning what's important to me and what's not, and how I interact with the world and the things about myself that I like and things I want to change. And now at the end of it, like I feel like I'm a way, like Gabe said, I have way more agency than I've ever had. And it feels really good. So I don't know, at different points, I've over the course like the last 8 years, like I felt like I was growing and like feeling like, oh, I'm in a good spot now. But like there was always more work to do, and now I'm definitely feeling like the best I have, not physically, but so yeah, it's strange. Like if yeah, those two for the 4 year chunks, the first 2 years would be like, all right, same old, let's see, and then the last years are like, nope, things are changing again. You gotta up your game. I think like for the best. So that's kind of what it was like for me.
Do you want to go, Joseph? Or you want me to go?
I can go.
Yeah, you guys are doing a standoff.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've obviously had a lot more time to think about this. I kind of came up with the idea around like the new year. Actually, no, it was before. It was No, it was like Thanksgiving. It
Been
was when
sitting
I
on this
remember.
for a while.
Yeah, well, I haven't had the opportunity because we've had like regimented topics up until now.
Yeah.
Because I remember thinking about it when I came to visit you in Whitehall, Dayton. Um, but anyway, so I've thought about it on and off for a while, and I I think the short answer is high school me could have predicted or would not have been surprised at uh, senior college me or fourth year college me, but I think fourth year college me would be surprised about me today,
Yeah, I agree with that.
or more so surprised. I feel like I had a lot of uh, maturity growth in a way. I mean, obviously you're 18, right? You go from 18 to 22.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot more maturity in that time span, and like obviously more social interactions and stuff like that. But I feel like since since college, I mean, I've grown my hair out. I can actually have facial hair now. There's a lot of like physical changes. It's like second puberty. It's crazy. Um, but also I feel like not that my interests have changed, but like they've expanded more than I would have thought. Um, and just been more like developed, I would say, in like my interests and my hobbies and things. Whereas like in high school and college, it's like, yeah, video games and
Yeah.
camping. I mean, I like to snowboard, like, I would kind of end it about there. Like, yeah, but like, I've gotten into mountain biking and like road biking and like getting
Mm-hmm.
more into like the technical aspects of those. I mean, obviously working in a bike shop and a ski shop has helped that
Mm-hmm.
and like helped me develop those skills and that knowledge. But even, in like camping and stuff, like I would not have guessed. I mean, I had wanted to do Isle Royal, but that wasn't like something I really, I don't know. It wasn't something I would have pushed myself to do without Dayton kind of saying, "Hey, I'm gonna do it." Like I wanted to, but it's a scary thing to do on my own. Um, and like pack rafting and like building that, and even trying renting it and stuff like that. I feel like I've been able to dive deeper into those things.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas I didn't really have that depth in my hobbies before, and like, and I would say that extends past my hobbies, too. But that's just the easiest way to kind of talk about it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I kind of think of my growth in like high school as like a linear like vertical growth, like a tree trunk or something, and then like since then more of a sprawled out kind of growth. Um, is kind of how I visualize it and kind of
Sure.
categorize it, I would say.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I think that makes sense too. And I think, I think this is the case. I don't know if you agree, Joseph. It's like, and the reason that, at least for me and you, like, feel like we've changed a lot post college. And granted, I was in grad school, so maybe this isn't fully hard and fast rule, but like, we're not on rails anymore. Like, we're out in the real world making a decision. Like, we're not on the track of just, you just gotta stay on this track and don't fall off and you'll be all right. Like,
Yeah.
now it's like, now you gotta chart your own path and figure out what you want to do. And like, and I'll speak for myself. Like, for me, like, that pressure is what forced me to be like, all right, I gotta do something. And when I try to do something, I'm like, oh, it didn't fucking work. And then you're really looking like, okay, what do I actually want to try to do? And like, you're not really don't have that pressure until you're about to graduate. And you're like, oh shit, I need a job. Like you can kind of just relax once you're kind of in the system.
And yeah, and then you graduate and it's like, all right, track's done.
Mm-hmm.
Go. Oh, all right. Yeah, and I think that is a big part of it. You kind of have not necessarily your decisions made for you, but like you've got the outline. And like you're, at least me, I was like just expecting to follow it, and I did, and whatever. And then All right, outline's done.
Yep. Well, and also like all
Yeah.
3 of you got jobs right out of college, and none of you are at those same jobs anymore, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like that was the old ways. You get out of college, you get a job, and you stay at that job for 50 years or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know
Um,
anyone in our generation that still does that.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Doesn't
Um,
happen.
so yeah, that's a
Yeah.
factor I think as well.
I think kind of going back to what Joseph was saying about the interests rang pretty true to me too, because there's like high school Gabe liked like 3 things, and even like I think video games is a perfect example. Like it's something I always did like all the time, and I'll still play the occasional game now, but I definitely am not nearly at the level that I am now. I just played with a friend yesterday, who I'd like kind of introduced into video games in high school, and now we're completely flipped. Like he just plays video games all the time, and then like he's teaching me how to play games. Just because I think my interests have just kind of they've changed, but I think a lot of it comes down to like resources and agency, like
Mhm.
being able to afford, a nice bike to go mountain biking, or like, um, being in a place that allows that. A lot of the my bigger hobbies in high school were like soccer, because all you need is a ball and a pair of shoes, and video games because you can be anywhere.
Mhm.
But a lot of the hobbies I have now, I think, to, in some extent, do conform to the environment I'm in now. But also, like, past that, there's even other hobbies that, if you would have asked me like 4 years ago, like, oh, would you try that? I'd be like, fuck no, that looks stupid. But
Mhm. Mhm.
now it's like, yeah, let's see what this is about,
Yeah.
So,
And yeah, one last thing on that, Dayton, I promise I'm not just sidelining you. Well, that just made me think of like another thing, and I've never really been like ashamed of my hobbies or anything, but I definitely feel less. I'm more willing to try new stuff now, right? And for you guys, it's often like more outdoor activities or mountain biking or whatever. And I've done some of that stuff, but like for me, it's more like getting into a whole new like genre of something on YouTube, right? And like, okay, what's this thing, and getting into it, or um, just not being like afraid to. I don't know, because there are things with certain stigmas, and like obviously I'm really into anime now, but I didn't start watching anime until I was studying abroad in New Zealand. I think before it's like, oh, that's for nerds or whatever. But I'm like, you know what? A lot of people like this. Let me check it out. And then of course I fell in love. And like just recently, because my friend Lissa is super into Dimension 20, which is College Humor Now Dropouts, their D&D like series, some of Critical Role. And I've always been like, I don't know if D&D's for me. Like it's just I prefer video games, or like I don't know about the tabletop side of it. And she's never been like pressured me to watch it, but she's always talking about it. I'm like, okay, I'll check it out. And now I'm getting really into it, right? And I maybe could have predicted that, but I've also been like kind of wary because I'm like, do I want to be like a D&D guide too? Is that what does that mean for? It's like but like now that I'm doing, I'm like, okay, I get it, and it's great, and I understand, and like it was stupid for me to think any of that stuff, right?
Mhm.
So yeah, I'll just say is like I trying to become more comfortable with just like let's just try the thing and see if I like it or not, and also like if I do like a thing, then that's cool and it's fine. So yeah, stuff like that. But Dayton, what do you think of all this?
So I kind of like. Do you guys know what a spider chart is?
Yeah.
Like it's like picture like the stereotypical like skill chart in a game, okay? Where you might have like strength, stamina, like intelligence, charisma, all those different things like plotted on like a pentagram or whatever. And I think like moving out of high school, I picture myself as like being just like you got a decently well-rounded thing, but it's very small. Very tiny, nothing to write home about.
I need to pause for a second. Are you thinking of this because of Pokemon and
No.
like the attributes that like what I'm talking about, Gabe?
His special attack and defense.
No, not even that. Because like there's I'm sorry,
Or like
like I'm thinking of Feebas to evolve to Melodic. It has to be like a certain level of like beauty or whatever, because there's like the separate
You're
5 that you need for
talking about
performances.
the contest
The
charts.
contest,
Yeah.
the contest
Yeah.
chart. That's what I'm thinking about.
No,
right
I'm not
It's like
talking. I'm
cute,
not.
cool.
Yeah, thank you. That's exactly what I was thinking about.
Yeah, I obviously maxed out my cute stat.
Yeah. I mean, look at that shirt. I mean, she's max cute.
No, that's not what made me think of this analogy.
But that's the chart, right? That's the chart.
It's the same style of chart, yeah, except this one I imagine to be much more faceted than that. Yeah, high school very like focused, but overall pretty even around all of them. And then in college, I honestly think it just like expanded out equally. Like I was able to get experience in a lot of different things that I, liked, and then I was also able to like almost like create more facets by like growing my skills and things that I had never even like touched before in high school. And then I feel like after college, I had a pretty good idea of like sort of who I was and like what I wanted to do. So I was able to like then kind of almost start like min maxing, like if you want to use that terminology, of like okay, what do
You're using video games exclusively as your analogy.
Well, it's easy to make.
Life's an RPG, Gabe. All right, get on board.
The current meta told me I needed to get into ultra marathons.
Stamina build.
But as like much of like a joke of like that we are making of it, I honestly do feel like that is kind of the case though for me. Like I've realized like there's some things like I'm just okay with being completely mid at, and I don't really care. And then there's others of them that I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna put more time into this because like I actually care about this and I want to be good at it, or I want to, I don't know, learn more about this for whatever reason. So I don't know, like I feel like that's kind of almost like in contrast to you, Jacob, where like now like you're getting to the point where you're wanting to like build outwards more, whereas like me, it's like I don't know, like I that's not to say I'm not open minded right now. I'm willing to try like a lot of different things right now, but I'm much more like this is what I'm doing, and you could even tell that from my update where I'm like, yeah, I don't know, I'm just getting back into the whole running thing again, starting to get warmer out.
Yeah, I mean, like I don't think either is good or bad, right? I think a factor that we haven't really talked about is I think a large factor of these is the people that you're around during these periods, right? Like I would not be the person I am right now if not for my friends here in grad school, right? Like who they are and spending time with them has also helped shape me who I am, right? And I'm very happy about that. And then obviously our time in college is all of us living together. I think we were a lot more similar. Most likely we were all living together, right? And we've kind of all doing our own thing now. We're still friends, obviously, but and in high school, go back to high school briefly. I know we're not doing that for your chunk either, but like thinking about something as simple as like sense of humor, right? Like my sense of humor in high school is different sense of humor in college, sense of humor now because the people I'm around I have to make laugh are different, right? So I think the people that you're with during these periods are massively influential into like who you are and what you're trying to do to some extent,
Yeah, I think I'm thinking back to Dayton's graph thing. I think for me in college, I almost would describe myself as a little bit inverted of what Dayton was saying, where I think I was so focused on like the three things, like 3 or 4 things, school, like computers, video games, and like I don't know, maybe snowboarding or
Beer.
something.
Beer.
I had a lot of beer in college. But now I still feel like there's so many things that I'm like there are like very novel experiences or like um things that wouldn't think that I would ever enjoy that I'm willing to give a shot, and it's like really fun to like give it a shot, like I'm trying to think of like a recent example. Like I guess like one day I like randomly bought like paints and decided to do like 2 paintings, and like it was kind of fun. It's my Discord logo now because I painted that thing, and it was fun. But it's like I'll just move on to the next thing. Like it's nice to I don't know. It's just like I feel like if you would have told me that in college, I'd be like, no, that's stupid. But I'm like open-minded enough to be like, oh, I'll try something else, or like if I don't know, I'm not just like focused on the three things I'm trying to min-max yet, but I feel like there'll probably be another phase where I hit a stage where Dayton's at, where I'll find something. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna figure this out for like 6 months to a year, and then move
Yeah.
on to the next, which is very typical of me. But yeah,
And
I just would say my interests are more open-minded now than they were before.
yeah, I think that for me recently it's that the reason I've kind of started to, or not recently, been, the past 3 years, I would say, that I've started to sort of like the whole min max idea is just from like a time standpoint. Like I don't have enough time to chase everything that I want to do, and things that I want to do take a decent amount of time to be good at them. So that means that I can only do so many things at the level that I want to do them at. Like things that I'm filling my free time with aren't the things that I'm okay with being mid at. I'm mid at them because I don't spend time doing them.
Yeah.
So it's almost just like out of a necessity.
Right. I do think a lot of it is even like in this last year that I've like lived alone and I've switched to work from home. I have a lot more free time to like spend. Like, how mid am I gonna be at this?
Mhm.
Because even like, I mean, the hobbies that I do like pretty frequently, like I bike and go to the gym pretty frequently, and those take up a lot of time, and I want to be good at those.
Mm.
But this is not a complaint. This is a compliment of anything. It's like I still have time left over, so it's nice that I have the time to like be able to explore those things.
Mhm.
Because even like 2 years ago, when I was like going in office and stuff, it's like by the time I get back, have dinner, I get like an hour, to
Mhm.
exercise or go to the gym, and then I have like half an hour or hour on the couch before I had to go. So some of it is like people and time.
Mhm.
There are resources and limits to where you can put your experience points in.
So yeah,
Ugh.
I have two things to say about that. One is I've been feeling that way more just like recently, like the last 2 weeks, because now that I'm on my own doing my own thing, like the feeling of limited time is very real. Because like, okay, every morning I'm working for somebody else, every afternoon I'm working for myself, and then every pretty much 6 out of 7 nights of the week I have something. I'm either recording a podcast, or I'm streaming, or I'm hanging out with friends, or I'm watching a movie to talk about on a podcast. Like, hey, you know, my time has become very limited very quickly, right? So, yeah, Dayton, I agree. Where it's like I want to make sure I'm spending all this time productively, and I feel like it's well worth my time, and things are getting to the quality I want them to be at, right? And that'll take time to be there. Um, but the other thing is we're using this whole video game analogy, right, to talk about life. And what's ironic is like I did kind of think about life as a video game a little bit before I started going to therapy recently. Just I don't know, more of like an RPG, right, where there are decisions that you make, right? There are dialogue choices. Um, there are not necessarily. I don't really think about like skills to invest in, but more like there are efficient ways to do things. Like for example, whenever I play like a first-person story game and you like get into a level, I always try to go the wrong way first because you got to make sure you find all the extra loot and then you go the right way. You know what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm always thinking about like, can I be most efficient in this game to get like the most rewards and like see all the content, right? And I kind of had this kind of idea of life. I'm like, okay, how can I be like efficient? How can I maximize? What's like the correct dialogue choice? What's the correct decision I should make tonight? Should I do this thing or this thing, right? And again, just for me personally, not trying to project on you all, but like talking about that in therapy and talking about how like I had this need, or still to some extent, I have this need of like always being correct, always being right. And I was like, oh, this video game analogy is not helpful for me because I'm assuming that I can be as efficient in life as I can be in video games, which is just not possible because life is life. It's not because like one of the reasons I love video games is that you can win. Like you can, like there's a way they give you all the tools to be good and win. You know what I'm talking about? Like
I'd argue some people have one life. I think there are people who have one life. There's
And
some billionaires out there, man.
yeah, but like life doesn't give you the tools. I mean, you could argue it, but like it's not the same, right? When you play a video game, it's like, okay, everything I need to do well is in this game. It's in this box. Life is not a box, right? It's this vast experience with all these different things, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think for me, trying to view life as a video game was very unhelpful because it was just unrealistic and not helping out. So I think it's interesting. We're using this video game analogy to describe all this stuff, and I'm like, I cannot do that because it will force me to make bad decisions.
Well, it's interesting that you brought up the whole like the point of like you treat it when you look at it like a video game, then it makes you want to feel right. For me, it's almost like I'm not worried about the being right aspect. I'm worried about the being the most efficient aspect. Where it's like I don't like I couldn't care less if somebody's like, "Oh, like that's not the right way to spend your free time." It's like, "Fuck you. That's what I want to do, so I'm doing it." It's more of like, "Okay, am I really like if I want to get to, like X level, am I actually spending my time, my limited time as we just talked about, as effectively as possible to get there when I want to get there?" But something that I've like recently been thinking more about is like and becoming more okay with not being productive all the time, which kind of goes back into the whole year compass thing. It's like these are arbitrary goals. I set these. Like I don't need to I don't need to rush myself and be, super hard on myself for no reason. Because eventually I'm going to reach a point, aka when I die, that I don't have any more time to do anything that I want to do. And there's always going to be stuff that I can't do. So I have to be okay with not being 100% efficient.
Right. And that's the thing I was struggling with, right? Because here's a perfect example. It's a Saturday night. My night's open. I'm like, all right, what should I do with this, 4 hours of free time?
Mm-hmm.
My efficiency brain goes, well, you should watch a critically acclaimed movie that you haven't seen so you can talk about it on Red String. Like, I don't know, Reservoir Dogs, I've never seen. So you should watch Reservoir Dogs because it'll be good content.
Mm-hmm.
And my hedonic brain's like, that doesn't sound fun. Like, I'm not in the mood for that movie. I don't want to do it. But efficiency brain's like, no, if you want to be efficient with your time and be as productive as you say you want to be and blah, 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 you should watch this movie. And it's the word should that always that now I catch way more often. But it's the should. And it's like, no, fuck you. If I'm in the mood to rewatch a movie I've seen 17 times, I'm going to fucking do it because it'll make me feel good. Watch this movie. Maybe I'll enjoy it, maybe I won't, but I don't want to do it. And like you said, these are arbitrary things I set up myself, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, just trying to remember work towards your goals and be aware of that, but also don't do things you don't want to do. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
You only have so much time. So anyway,
but also you should watch Reservoir Dogs. It's a really
we'll get
good
to it
movie.
eventually. We'll maybe do a Tarantino string or something. We'll get there.
There's a really good comic I saw the other day. It's from Mr. Lovingstein. I don't know if you guys are aware of that comic creator. It's pretty good. It shows up on Reddit a lot, but there is a bit where it's the character. He's like sitting on the couch. He's like, okay, I have some leisure time. What should I do? Well, I could hang out with some friends or read a book or learn a new language and it just like kept going on and on. And he's still sitting on the couch doing nothing. And then it turns dark. It's like there's definitely times where
I struggle with that all the time. Yeah,
you're trying to figure out like, okay, I've got this time, this block. Like, what do I want to use with it? And sometimes you do nothing, but that's okay.
Yeah, it's rough. And often, again, for me, like if I just pick something, then I'll be fine. But it's like I can't even decide. But once I start, it's it's whatever.
Yeah, I'm notoriously indecisive, so I will weigh the options for half an hour before I. It's so dumb. Such a waste of time. But...
And that's when it's nice when you live with somebody and be like, what should I do? And they're like, I don't know you. I don't know your life. Fucking do what you want. It's like, no, decide for me.
Yeah.
Take away my agency. It's too scary.
Yeah. Exactly.
Any final thoughts, Joseph? Anything else you wanted to touch on?
Oh, I'm trying to think. No, I feel like I really enjoyed how this discussion went. It hit a lot of points I was looking forward to, and a lot that I didn't anticipate but enjoyed nonetheless. No, it was I thought it was a pretty fun conversation.
Jonas patting his back over.
Everybody thinks their baby's
Oh,
cute,
yeah.
Joseph.
Yeah, the other thing I was thinking about maybe going into is like, should we like pick which one is like more important and more impactful? But it's like you can't have one without the other. Like they build on each other, right?
Mhm.
And or at least the second one builds on the first one.
Like, what are you gonna keep going to college your entire life?
Exactly.
That sounds miserable.
That sounds so bad.
Which is
Sounds
hilarious
fun
because
for
like
a couple more years, but
you would not have said that fourth year of college though.
Yeah.
That's because I
I
didn't know. I
remember-
didn't know any better. I only knew class. I had never been outside of class and made money and had actual free time outside of doing homework.
Yeah, yeah, you didn't know what it was like. I remember when one of our friends, he came to visit because he had graduated earlier. And I remember like hanging out with him and he's like, "Oh, I had to take PTO." And it's like, man, working full time sounds terrible. Like, he had so much more like resources just to do whatever the hell he wanted, more than I even realized at the time. I was like, college is where it's at. We got beer and homework. I
we
don't know.
drink the cheapest liquor and beer we can possibly get our grubby little paws on.
Dude, I told a friend about fucking what's the super cheap vodka I used to buy? Why am I blanking on it?
Oh,
I can imagine pop off.
Yeah, red.
Yes, I like pulled it up on Total Wine and it was like $12 for a fifth or $8 for a fifth. It was something like still stupid.
Dude,
cheap.
it's literally like $13 for a handle.
That's what it was. It was 13 for a handle.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is what I said I got drunk on in college. He's like, is that for a fifth or a handle? And I looked at him like, oh, dude, that's for a handle.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. Like I loved college and I liked it way more than high school, but I don't want to go back. And I would, and don't want to go back. Never want to. Don't want to necessarily relive it. Maybe some parts, but it was a time, and we all lived it, and it was great, but never again. All right. Well, I think that is our show for this week. Thank you guys all so much for listening. As always, you can catch us every other Monday on podcast services and YouTube. Be sure to catch us record these live on Thursday nights on Twitch, and then play games the other Thursdays. Next week, I believe, is Dayton's pick, I think.
That sounds about
playing a
right.
game.
I think so.
So we will not be playing Ultimate Chicken Horse. I can tell you that.
Yep.
Right off the bat.
You platform people are too good for me.
Yeah, give us a follow there. But until next time, thanks for watching. Bye.
Bye.
See you.